Hi everyone, this is Charmander, and in this video, I'm going to be covering some of the best rider hero pairs available in this game. That way, you know which rider heroes to pair when you are fighting on the field specifically. I will be making another video later on rider garrison pairs and also rider rally pairs, so stay tuned for that. Before I start this video, I just want to say I am absolutely horrified at my findings at how strong riders are in the field currently. Not just in the field, but in rally and garrison as well. And I think the best way to sum this up is welcome to the age of riders, because after you see my findings here, riders are gonna be beyond broken. I think it's actually way too cheap because I don't know if there's any counter to this because it's just way too powerful. I was actually having second thoughts sharing this information because people are definitely going to be abusing some of these strategies, but whatever. I'm here to provide information to the audience. So even though I am not rider main, this is my findings for the best rider hero pairs. We're going to start off with the first pair that in my opinion is actually going to be in the S tier category, and that's going to be a combination of Elena and also going to be Daryl. So Daryl is one of the new heroes in this game, and one of the reasons why these two pairs is so strong is first of all their defensive capabilities. If you look at Daryl's reduction in damage taken from AoE damage, it's going to be 30%, right? And then you pair that up with Elena with a reduction in skill damage taken by 40%. So altogether, that is 70% in reduction in damage taken. And this is perfect against heroes like Miyamoto, who does AoE, and everyone in the field is using Miyamoto right now. So you are going to have a really high probability that you are going to be reducing the damage you take. It's also amazing against range heroes like Lewis, Bard, and Ethan, and also other rider AoE heroes such as Mai. If you look at Daryl, he also buffs the skill damage of the rider squad by up to 21%. And as you know, Elena deals some of the strongest skill damage available in this game right now. Basically, Elena's skill damage does about 16,200 damage over 3 seconds, 19,602 damage if you include being flank, and 21,598 damage. Don't forget, Elena also has a skill that increases damage to flank targets, so roughly her damage is closer to 21,000 plus. And if you include that to Daryl's 13,500 damage dealt, and if you include Daryl's attack that's being buffed by his skill damage by 21%, it's closer to over 16,000 damage. In total, if you're flanking an enemy, both heroes are going to be dealing 37,933 damage. And when you combine both heroes together, you're going to get a bonus of a total between Elena's 20% rider attack and 37% for Daryl, for a grand total of 57% rider squad attack. And between Daryl's awakened travel speed of 25% and also Elena's 20%, this is an amazing 45% increase in travel speed, and this is not including the speed that you get from the talent tree. So at the very minimum, they're going to be moving at 45% travel speed, which is quite fast. So basically, this is a fast rider pairing that deals a lot of damage together, making this an excellent pair in the field, hence why I would label this as an S tier field combination. Now, this next pair is going to be extremely controversial, and it's actually boggling my mind because this next combination is actually a combination of Claude and also Sven. As a matter of fact, after I did my research on this, I soon regretted putting Sven at C tier in that rider hero tier list because yes, Sven is losing his luster in this game, but Claude just breathed life into him. So I think Sven is actually closer to a B tier hero, but if you pair him up with Sven together, they are between A tier to S tier. I'm actually leaning towards S tier because I feel like this is such a broken combination, but it's only S tier if you fight with this combination with another rider squad, meaning you should have multiple rider squads. Alone, this is more of an A tier combination, but with a squad of 3 to 5 rider heroes, this is easily S tier. With this pairing together, it is better if Claude is the leader. It's not mandatory. I know a lot of people already invested in rider armaments, but if you have the funding and the budget to invest in leader hero armaments, I would actually say having Claude as leader would be a big benefit because you're going to get 75 rage when entering the battle right away, which is a big boost, right? Not to mention your squad attack and HP will go up by 1.8% up to a maximum of 9% for 5 seconds for each squad nearby when using a rage skill. So this is a bonus buff that you get on top of the buffs that Claude already gives you. On top of that, you also get bonus rage when you are fighting in the field, which is 12 rage when attacked. So basically what makes this combination so dangerous is because Claude has that 20% reduction in skill damage taken, and that is his rage skill, right? But if you stack that with Sven, who has 15% reduction in damage taken. Together, both these heroes is going to have a disgusting 35% damage reduction, meaning it's very hard to kill them. And keep in mind, if it's very hard to kill these two, then Claude can keep wrecking things in the field, because when he creates that 20% damage reduction, it's not just for his squad. He basically affects up to 5 squads. So he is powering up all your hero rider squads as well, making them very difficult to kill as a result. On top of that, if you look at Claude's second skill, he reduces the travel speed of the opponents up to 40% when he uses a rage skill, right? And he also reduces their HP by 30%. Now, after firing that skill damage, if you look at Sven, he's going to increase his travel speed by 15% for the next 5 seconds. So you can chase down the enemy and potentially kill them off after firing that skill damage. Don't forget, Claude already gets 20% bonus when it comes to his own travel speed. So they're going to be moving fast, going in for the kill for any enemies that's trying to run away from you. This is perfect for hunting down heroes like Miyamoto, who's trying to run away from you, or any other fast rider heroes available in this game. And last but not least, Claude has up to 20% reduction in counter damage taken, and you can stack that with Sven's 20% reduction in counter damage taken for a total of 40% reduction in counter damage for both of them. So this two pairing together is really good for hunting down heroes that has huge counter damage, such as Lynn, Stella, and Eddie. So together, this hero, and most people has overlooked Sven up to this day, but Sven has a new life now, partnered up with Claude, and they are going to be a menace in the field. It's going to be so annoying in the future once everyone starts pairing these two heroes together. And I kind of regret already sharing this information, but hey, you know what? Let's mess things up on how things happen in the battlefield in this game. The next pairing together, and I think most people has not done the math in this, and I was absolutely horrified at what I saw. Basically, another amazing pairing, not just for the purpose of Garrison, but also in the field. It's actually going to be the combination of Felix as well as Chasey. Let's take a quicker deep dive. So if you look at Chasey and you get a chance to transcend her first skill, it says that she's going to do 330% basic attack damage for the next 5 seconds, right? You combine that with Felix, who does 3,100 basic damage for the next 5 seconds. So basically, 330% of that is going to be 10,230 basic damage per second. If you add it up to 5 seconds, that is a total of 51,150 basic damage in 5 seconds. This is also excluding the basic damage that Chasey is also doing. But I was further horrified when I dug even deeper, because if you transcend Chasey's Lashing Whip, this will increase the basic attack damage by another 55%. So actually, that damage that Chasey and Felix is doing, it's actually not 51,150 damage. It is actually 79,282 basic damage over 5 seconds. That is such a ridiculous amount of basic damage. It is so broken. It is so cheap. No wonder it is so hard to break a Chasey Garrison, because Chasey and Felix together is just destroying you. In the field, it is just as deadly. The only downside to this combination, why I'm not giving it S tier, regardless of how strong it is mainly because Chasey doesn't have any increase in travel speed, so she is quite slow. But if you have them in a big squad and you combine it with Claude and Sven, who will slow down the enemy, allowing Felix and Chasey to catch up to them, then this is definitely an S tier combination in a big rider squad. There's actually another hero pair that's going to make this pair even stronger. That's the beautiful thing about rider squads, is the other rider pairs actually makes other rider pairs strong. They all work together synergistically. The next one is going to be one of the speed build for rider heroes specifically, and that is going to be a combination of Bella and Mai. So as you know, with Bella, she increases her travel speed by 30%. And when you look at Mai, she increases her travel speed by 15%. So together, that is 45%. However, when Mai leaves a battle, she further increases her travel speed by 45% if the remaining squad size is above 50%. This means her actual speed, along with Bella, is 90%, which is the fastest you can be in this game. That is so ridiculously fast. This is outside the speed boost that you get from Mai's talent tree. The damage is not the strongest between these two pairs. That is why I'm putting it as a B tier instead of A tier, but it is still super strong. One thing to also remember is that Mai also does 25% travel speed reduction. So as you can see, if you have a Felix and Chasey in your team, and also a Claude and a Sven in your team, Claude and Sven can can slow down the enemy, and Bella and Mai can also slow down the enemy, especially because of Mai's skill damage. And when the enemy is slowed down, Felix and Chase can finish them off with their insane 79,000 plus basic damage over 5 seconds. This is why we are in the age of Rider, and this is why Riders are so dangerous right now in the field. They are unstoppable if you build it correctly. The next hero pairing is going to be Cynthia with the skin and Catherine with the skin. So the big thing to keep in mind between these two pairings is that their travel speed is quite fast. So between Catherine's 15% and Cynthia's 12 to 30%, that is roughly an increase of about 57% travel speed, which is very, very fast. So this is one of the fastest pairs available in this game. And this is not taking into consideration of Cynthia's talent tree, which is one of the fastest talent tree available in this game because of the number of squad travel speed available in her talent tree. This combination is also strong because of Catherine's ability to have rage recovery of 140, although it's a 10% chance. And their damage together is also very strong, especially if you look at Catherine's 8,500 damage plus 5,100 damage plus the potential of at least one combo of 3,600 damage. This is on top of Cynthia with the skin, and if she is faster than the enemy, and most likely she will be, she will deal 13,000 damage. So altogether, there is a potential of them dealing a combined damage of around 30,000 damage minimum or higher depending on how much combo Catherine does. Cynthia also has a healing factor, although it's not the best, as well as rider buff, which is okay. And these are the benefits if you specifically have Catherine and Cynthia together, which is ideal as they are the Calamity sisters and they were built to fight together. Now, outside of those teams, other potential team that you can put together, although they wouldn't be higher up in the priority based on what I just provided right now, would be a combination of Daryl and Rubina. So basically, if you look at Rubina's transcended skill, the first one, Crimson Slaughter, she can deal a total of about 36,160 damage. That is with the 10,400 skill damage on top of the 2 to 6 times damage factor of 5,600 being reduced by 10% until it reaches a minimum of 40% over the next 5 seconds. So I did the math and it's roughly about 36,000 damage. Now you add that with Daryl's 21% in skill damage, then it's roughly 43,753 in damage between both of them, which is really strong, right? On top of that, if you look at Rubina's Warhol, which increases the rage skill by a minimum of 3.5% all the way to 52.5% because it stacks up to 15 times. So if you only include one Warhowl, then the damage, including the skill damage from Daryl, is going to be roughly 45,000. But if you have the max value, which is not likely to happen unless you are doing a rally with Daryl, and that max value is going to be around 73.5%, then you're going to deal a whopping 62,000 damage plus between Rubina and Daryl. So as you can see, this is a very powerful pair together, especially later on when I cover rallying. Also, last but not least, if you combine Rubina's 42% in Rider Squad Attack, along with Daryl's 37% in Rider Squad Attack, you get a nice 79% bonus in Rider Squad Attack, making them very powerful together. The main downside here, though, is that Rubina doesn't have any increase in travel speed, so they are actually going to be quite slow. It's still viable in the field, especially if you have Bella and Mai to help slow down enemies, and also if you have Claude and Sven to help slow down the enemies, then it would definitely be viable to use. This pairing, I would give it maybe a B or B minus. So it's not the best pairing in the game for the purpose of field. Rally is a different story, which I'll cover later on, but definitely very viable, especially if you partially transcend Rubina. Other good combination in this game would be Felix and Elena. I'm not going to go into detail, but basically Felix focuses on basic attack while Elena focuses on massive skill damage. So you're dealing damage from both fronts. They do have 38% travel speed together, so it's still fairly good. I would give that pairing also around B. It's quite good as well. And you can still do the classic Bella and Elena combo, and I would give that a C plus nowadays, or even a C, because it's just not as good as it used to be. Now, what's amazing about Riders right now, and why I call it the age of Riders, is because all the Riders work so amazingly well together. And the information I'm about to give you for a squad of 5 Riders, total of 10 heroes, is not from the perspective of a free-to-play or budget player, but more from somebody that's trying to min-max or trying to have the best possible. I will make a free-to-play and low-spend guides to having a squad of 5 Riders in the future, as this is not realistic at all for players that are not mid-spend or higher. With that being said, the best possible pair, as I've I've already discussed today is going to be Elena plus Daryl for their amazing skill damage. Sven and Claude will be the second one because of reducing the enemy speed, as well as reducing their HP, as well as reducing the damage taken by your entire team, combined with Bella and Mai for extra damage, extra speed, just to allow you to slow down the enemy so that when you're using your Felix and your Chasey, you can bomb them with that huge 79,000 plus damage. You can also finish them off with the Calamity Sisters, Cynthia, and Catherine with even more damage factor, over 30,000 if you do it correctly. And that is my opinion on some of the best 5 rider squads available in this game. If you don't want to use Mai for some reason because she is too expensive, or maybe you have an account that doesn't have Mai, in that case you either have to buy an account that has Mai or just replace Mai with Rubina. And if you replace it with Rubina, then you are going to be dealing more damage. And if you don't want to use Rubina or Mai, another alternative for you to use would be Bianca for the purpose of buffing your team, creating a shield factor for your team for additional defensive capabilities, and also to restore the team's rage so that you can fire more rage skill. So all those combinations are quite good. That's how I would personally structure the 5 rider team for maximum efficiency, maximum effectiveness, and maximum damage to your opponents, while maximum defensive capabilities as well from Sven and Claude. So I'm going to end the video on the best rider hero pairs available in this game. The next videos, I'm going to be covering Rider Rally as well as Rider Garrison, and the hero pairs for those will look a little bit different from what I covered today. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.